Dear students, hello and welcome. I welcome you to this lecture. Today's topic for the discussion is Views of Vedic Philosophy on Self. The main objectives of this lecture include to know about the nature of Vedic philosophy, to know about the four Vedas, to understand about the 6 schools of Vedic philosophy, to know about the various rites and sacrifices in Vedic period, and finally to understand the main features of Vedic philosophy. Dear students, let me first talk about the nature of Vedic philosophy. Veda means knowledge. It derives from the Sanskrit term Vid, which implies discovering, learning, obtaining or understanding. What you achieve or understand is knowledge. Veda is a common noun that can be used to refer to knowledge. The Sanskrit speaking peoples control over the life and thinking in the Indus Valley, most likely between 2000 and 1500 BCE, marked the beginning of the Vedic period. The Indus Valley in the northwest India is where these Sanskrit people, who called themselves Aryans, first arrived, according to historians, some 35 centuries ago. Students, we have 3 bodies according to Vedic school of thought: the entire body, the subtle body, and the spiritual body. The entire body is made up of earth, fire, air and water. The mind, intelligence and the false ego include the subtle body. The soul is the spiritual body and it is made up of eternal knowledge and bliss. But it is also protected by entire and subtle coverings. The process of spiritual modification described in Vedic literature is a stepwise process of God realization and love of God. The self-realized teachers have carefully preserved and passed down this rational object over the generations. This philosophy makes an effort to answer to deeply metaphysical questions such as why there is pain and pleasure, health and illness, wealth and poverty, and God's, His qualities, nature and actions. What is the meaning of life? The nature and qualities of the soul. Also, what should we do? This school of literature provides satisfactory answers to all of above raised questions. This school of thought holds that the discussion on the self's existence and its characteristics are inseparable. Vedic philosophy describes the 3 qualities of the self. That is, the self is identical with Brahman, everlasting and non-material. Brief description of 4 Vedas. Dear students, as you know, there are 4 Vedic books which are Rig Veda, Samaveda, Yajurveda and Atharva Veda. These 3 books together form the Chaturveda. The first hand Veda is the Rig Veda, and all of them agree with each other in form, language and content except the Atharvaveda. Students, the Rig Vedas are the earliest written records of Indian culture dating back to the Aryans. There are 10,600 verses and 1,028 hymns. Its collection started around about 1600 BC. The Rig Veda's written texts date back to the 1 millennium BCE. The Rig Veda is structured according to well-defined principles. The Veda starts with a little book that is dedicated to Agni, Indra, Soma, and other gods. All are arranged according to decreasing total number of religious songs within each divinity collection. The religious songs advancement from longer to shorter ones. However, the total number of songs per book increases. Students, Greater Punjab is where the first of the Rig Vedas were composed. The more recent texts that bordering on philosophy were created near the state of Haryana. The religious songs and verses were written by sages. The Vedic songs were taught by God to the sages who then passed it down orally to succeeding generations, according to Hinduism. The Rig Veda provides insight into important philosophical and religious issues. The study explores what it means to be alive and poses hypothetical inquiries regarding God, whether God was aware of the solutions. The Rig Veda refers to historical culture history in the present context, and parts of its songs are still employed in rites, although scholars claim that the essence no longer exists. Samaveda, with the exception of 75 mantras, this book's 1549 stanzas are almost entirely drawn from the Rig Veda. The present collection of Vedic Sanskrit dates from the post-Rig Vedic mantra era, about between 1200 and 1000 BCE. However, its oldest elements are said to go back to the Rig Vedic period. The Samaveda is broken into two main sections that are melodies and chants. The Saman and the Arsika, a collection of songs, make up the first section. All of them, with the exception of 75 verses, are drawn from the Rig Veda. The name Samaveda, which is a combination of Saman and Veda, means book of songs. It works as the main inspiration for traditional Indian dance and music, which ranks as the oldest in the world. The later chapters shift to weave on nature and the existence of the universe, philosophy, and God. Yajurveda. This book is made up of prose mantras. It is a collection of rites offering instructions spoken by a priest as a person conducting rites activities such as those done before the yajna fire. The basic text of the Yajurveda was written during the classical mantra era of Vedic Sanskrit near the end of the 2nd millennium BCE. It is mainly a rites book. The ancient Vedic literature contains a collection of rites, offering and mantras to be repeated by a priest simultaneously. A human conducts the rite in front of the yagna. It is essentially an exercise for priests to use while performing religious events. The majority of the Yajurveda dates from 1200 to 1000 BCE. The Samhita, the most ancient component of the Yajurveda, consists of 1875 lines made up of the Rig Veda's basis. The Satapatha Brahmana, possibly the most extensive Brahmana writing in the Vedic collection, is included in the middle section. Yajurveda works as a reminder once again. Yajurveda is again a reminder of India's ancient cultural practice and gives information about agriculture, social and economic life during the Vedic period. Atharva Veda. Dear students, the Atharva Veda is the fourth and last text of the Vedic literature. To navigate daily life, it is known as the Atharvanas. The Atharva Veda was the first source of information on Vedic culture, practices and beliefs, goals and disappointments of daily Vedic life, and those related with rulers and administration. The book also contains songs about the two first-hand rites of passage. The Atharva Veda likewise a considerable amount of the book to clarify the significance of the rites. This Veda is more concerned with current culture and tradition than with religious and spiritual teachings. In this way, it is unrelated to the other three Vedas. It is also known as the Veda of magic formulas. The Atharva Veda is a collection of religious songs and spells that deal with healing and long life. The Atharva Veda focuses on spiritual practice as a means of approaching God. The Atharva Veda consists of 730 songs with 6,000 mantras. The Atharva Veda dates from the 2nd millennium BCE. It is still relevant in today's culture since it was a forerunner of medicine and healthcare. Even now, any Vedic scholar may benefit from this text. Students, now 6 schools of Vedic philosophy. The 6 major schools of Vedic philosophy and their founders are Nyaya, logic school; Vaisheshika, atomic school; Samkhya, cosmic principle school; Yoga, yoga school; Purva Mimamsa, that is ritualistic school; and last one is Uttara Mimamsa, that is metaphysical school. Let us discuss first one, that is Nyaya. Nyaya are logical philosophical schools related to Plato's approach in Western thinking. All Vedic traditions, including Ayurveda and Yoga, advocate for the development of strong logical abilities which may be obtained through Nyaya Vaisheshika training. Nyaya, like many other philosophical systems, strives for liberation, the achievement of moksha, which is the greatest aim of human existence, according to them. This procedure is used in all other schools of Indian philosophy. Vaisheshika. This school covers the following 7 key topics, that is substance, quality, action, generality, uniqueness, inherence and non-existence. Vaisheshika is the name of this school because it views uniqueness as a component of reality and analysis it as a separate category. It deals with the physics and chemistry of the body and the cosmos under the issue of substance. This school created the hypothesis of atomic structure. Its practical teaching stress dharma, the code of behavior that guides man to worldly wealth and the ultimate aim of life. Samkhya. Dear students, the Samkhya philosophy was founded by sage Kapila. The Samkhya doctrine defines the tattvas or cosmic principles that yogic practice aims to achieve. Samkhya is derived from samyag, which means that which explains everything. It does not believe in God's existence. Samkhya is a dualistic philosophy that holds that conscious Purusha and unconscious Prakriti are coexistent and separate realities. Yoga. Yoga appears as a common term in late Vedic books such as Shri Krishna's Bhagavad Gita, which is also regarded to be a yogic scripture. Although yoga philosophy was known in Vedic and pre-Vedic periods, it was not completely systematized until Patanjali defined it about 200 BC. Purva Mimamsa. Dear students, last school of this philosophy is Uttara Mimamsa. The word Vedanta refers to the Uttara Mimamsa school of thought, which is the most concerned of the six systems with the accurate interpretation of Vedic scriptures. The philosophical school of Vedanta analyzes the nature of God, the soul, the absolute, and their connection. Vedanta is divided into various schools. The most important and extensive of the Vedic intellectual traditions across time. Vedanta was taught and practiced by the Vedic and Upanishad sages and passed down via a long line of sages. Rites and sacrifices in Vedic period. Dear students, the ancient Vedic worshippers paid sacrifices to those gods in the hope that they would bring them abounding numbers of cattle, good fortune, well-being, and long life, among other material benefits. To assure the efficacy of their invocations, the people came to recognize that, accompanied by songs of praise and other invocations of the God's might and power, their sacrifice may be rendered more acceptable to the gods. Thus, the rites described in Vedas arose. Every sacrifice was made on behalf of a specific person, the patron or yajamana, who paid the costs. In the early era of time, when the Rig Veda was compiled, the Vedic killing rites were quite straightforward. They do not need temples or pictures. The rituals were held in an open location that was dedicated for each significant event. All great public ceremonies starts with the placement of the flame, which was delivered by the patrons first. Now, types of rites. First one is domestic rites. The domestic rites were performed over the domestic hearth by home owner himself or with the assistance of a single priest. Some happened on a daily or monthly basis, while others followed a specific event, such as the samskaras, which are sacraments that mark each step of an upper caste Indian's life, from conception to death. The second one is the Grand Rites. This rites is performed in public. On the other hand, spanned many days or months and was mainly limited to wealthy men or kings. They frequently needed the services of different priests and were performed at 3 fire altars. The Soma sacrifice, which covered the wealth and well-being of both humans and gods, was the most excellent feature of the public rites. A lay sacrificer was first consecrated in that fundamental rite, following which juice was pressed 3 times from the Soma plant, with part of it is sacrificed to the fire and part drunk by the priests. Now, types of sacrifices. It is the ritual slaughter and sacrifice of an animal in order to satisfy the heavenly power. Many times, immature individuals perform the sacrifice using a softened weapon, which may need it up to 15 strikes to kill the animal. The killing of a goat existed either alone or as a part of the Soma sacrifice. It is characterized as a previous practice. However, it was most likely only symbolic. The sacrifice of the mythological Grand Purusha, whose divided parts gave rise to the four mainly social groups, most likely served as a model for the guest human sacrifices. Other rites marked specific calendar days, such as the full or new moon or the changing of seasons. Students, the last objective of this lecture is main features of Vedic philosophy, which are: in Vedic period, people worship many natural forces, among them Indra, Mitra, Varuna, Agni, Yama are main. According to them, the creator, preserver and destroyer is one, that is God. Multi-gods and goddesses described in Vedas are surviving forms of natural forces. Some gods in Vedas are considered as feelings of Shraddha, Krodha. In men are considered as god and goddesses in Vedas. The foundation of Vedic philosophy is there was no form of gods and goddesses, as these were natural forces. Rigveda says that Ishwar or ultimate truth is one, but rationalists call it with the various names. Students, this philosophy has given the message of tolerance to all mankind. A system of four Purusharthas is given in Vedic philosophy to upgrade man's spiritual and physical life. They are Dharma, that is fulfillment of duty and good behavior. Second is Artha, that is achieving material successfulness. Third is Karma, achievement of physical pleasure, and Moksha, to achieve salvation. This thought believes in Moksha, which means to achieve salvation or Mukti by the following path of Karma, Gyan and Bhakti. The betterment of man and society is possible by proper coordination of four Purusharthas. According to Vedic philosophy, rebirth occurs on the foundation of karma. Hence, by doing good deeds, man can make his life best. By this, a man make free himself from the chains of intolerance and consider whole earth as a family. Vedic darshan said that service of others is dharma and giving others sorrow is sin. In this way, Vedic philosophy gives inspiration of love, brotherhood, good behavior, cooperation and coordination to whole world. Dear students, to conclude, we may say that Vedic knowledge manifested itself within the heart of Brahma at the dawn of the cosmos. Brahma passed on this knowledge to his immediate sons, who are great sages of higher planetary systems such as Satya Loka, Jana Loka and Tapaloka through Sabda. These sages passed on the Vedic Sabda to followers all around the cosmos, including old wise men. The renowned Vedic authority Krishna Vyasa codified the Sabda into Sanskrit text 5,000 years ago, which is now known as the Vedas. Students, the Vedic literature describes the cognitive process of spiritual growth as a stepwise process of God realization and love of God. The self-realized teachers have carefully maintained and passed forth this information over the generations. The future of Vedic knowledge is dependent not just on knowing the final conclusions, but also on the science that leads to those findings. In other words, we require not just the Vedanta system, but also the other 5 systems. They may or may not be known by the same names, but their significance is unquestionable. Only by comprehending all 6 schools of philosophy can we claim to see the Vedic system scientifically. Dear students, it was all for today. I hope that you might have enjoyed this very session. Thank you.